to Americast, the rootinest, tootinest, red and white and blutinest podcast on the wild, wild west of the wild, wild web of the world wide web of the internet America. I'm your host, Rusty.com, and I'm here with my buddy Kevin.Day. What up, Kevin?
Hey, Spencer. I love that voice.
Oh, thank you. I can keep it up for quite a while.
No, I don't know. So what's up, Kevin? So it's a special day today, as I'm sure everyone already knows, because it was Callie's birthday bash, right? It was her birthday. It was her 50th birthday. It was Callie's 50th birthday, everybody. Right, Kevin? That's right?
Approximately correct, yes.
Okay, so yeah, Callie had her 50th show on the network, Schwab Home Video Network. I don't know, and yeah, I'm sure it was great. It was great, right? It was really funny, and everyone was having a great time. I couldn't believe, oh my god, when that bird got loose in the theater, it was nuts. But I think that was planned. I don't know. You know, Callie's been actually getting a lot of packages to the house, and one of them was screeching, so I guess that kind of explains how that came to be. But what's up? What's up, Kevin? How's it going? Like, was it work for you setting up this whole thing? Are you glad it's kind of winding down, or what?
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel a little embarrassed that I think she put in a lot more effort into her 50th than we just did last week.
Yeah, well, she puts a way more effort in her entire show than we do. It's a constant source of consternation for me, and it's hard to be mad because it's not her fault that she's trying. It's my fault that I'm not trying, you know? But she has a better product. She's more likable. She's more talented, undeniably. She has a more organic fan base. Oh, sorry, I cut you off. And the fans hate that.
No, I was just going to say, do you think we should try harder? Is that the message we should take from this?
Well, I don't want to try harder. I want to not try harder. But yeah, I do think we should try harder. Yes, that's the problem. That's the tension we've always been having. I think everybody should have been trying harder from the top. I feel like from the beginning, I was trying to incent people trying hard, and it did not work. And immediately I was like, well, I'm not going to try either. And I think certainly at this point, I need to stop being a little baby about that and be like, no, well, I can't just expect people to show up and listen to me cry about how I haven't tried to do the show that they're listening to. You know, at some point it's like, well, either stop or do a better job. But anyway, we should get to our guests. We have guests today, people. But first, I just want to do a quick. Well, no, we can loop them in. Okay, so we got these special guests. Oh my God, they're from across the pond. One of them's been here for so long that you won't even be able to tell. Oh boy, I think they're creative geniuses. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I'm getting nods. Yes, okay, and I certainly worked with one of the Andys on Community. And when I say work with, it's such a weird situation because when I say work with, what a lot of people mean is like rubbing shoulders, oh my God, getting in the pickaxes and stuff. But what I mean when working with is I would get drinks and put them down, usually somewhere near Andy, or I would play darts in the hallway, and so it's not what most people think of when they think of working together. But enough of an introduction, way too much of an introduction. Let's talk to them. Andy Bobrow and Andy Stanton are here, everybody. What's up, folks?
Hey, hi. Pardon my scratchy throat. I have COVID.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that's a good thing we can talk about. Wait, go ahead.
Which Andy are you? Are you the British Andy or the American Andy?
Yeah, I'm the British one, and then you can tell. It's hard to tell.
It is hard to tell.
I'm here.
I'm from Missouri, apparently.
Yeah, I'm in London. It's glorious.
Nice to meet you.
It's so because it's so typically sunny here, and it's just another beautiful London day.
Oh well, it's very cold and bleak here in Missouri, USA.
Yeah,
I can tell you.
Yeah, typically.
I'm confused.
I told you guys would be able to tell which one's which. It's fairly obvious. So like I said, I did work with Andy Bobrow. But Andy Stanton, what do you do, or what have you done if you're not doing it currently? I don't know. It's in Hollywood. It can be weird to be like, what are you doing? Because it's like, well,
it does seem
I just
strange.
finished.
Okay, it does seem odd that it seems that you don't have to try, but I have to account for myself. I have to have tried, and I have to tell you that I do something. Do I?
No, but you do have to answer the question. You have to say, I don't do anything. That's fine too.
Yeah.
Or you don't actually have to answer the question. That's true too. You don't have to answer the question.
I'm going to level with you. I have done things.
Okay.
I have done some stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Did you put drinks near anybody as part of your job, or play darts even?
Yeah, once or twice, in my time.
Okay.
It's hard. It's hard not to.
It's hard not to put
when you
drinks near
see
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you think about the size of the planet,
someone's
right.
You're going to be putting a drink in front of someone.
How long I've been alive? I'm 48 years old now, and again, I've put a drink near someone. I've opened a door. I've seen stuff. I've seen sometimes I went to Spain when I was a kid on holiday, and I saw some large insects crawling over some candies. That happens. So it's just I'm full of experience.
You've lived a full life. Yeah.
I've lived a life.
Yeah.
Where did you live it? Where did you live? Where did you guys live?
I mostly live in London, and if you want the straight answer, I am a children's author here in Britain. And if you want a more complex and sad answer, I got tired of trying, a little like you, Spencer, and I haven't written any books for a while because I got tired of it.
But wait, let me jump in here because Andy, his self-deprecating British Andy is not going to do the American sell of this.
Oh yes, this was a foolish plan on my part.
Andy Stanton is a very well-known book author of books that are very popular in the UK and all of Europe, right? I believe. Somehow they haven't cracked. They have not cracked the American market, but they really should. And they're called Mr. Gum is this character that he created. Mm-hmm. And if you have a kid between the age of, what would you say, like 6 and 11?
Yeah, I'd say like 7 and 11.
Go on Amazon and buy yourself at least the first book. Wait, which is the first book called? Mr. Gum. I can't remember the title of the first book. Anyway, it's just called Mr. Gum. Wait, what is the title of the first edition?
Frankly, I'm appalled, Bobrow. It's called.
I have a signed copy of it.
It's funny that our, when we tried to turn this into a Nickelodeon project together, it didn't work for some reason. It feels like a lack of involvement may have been to blame, doesn't it, Andy?
Possibly.
It was cool. The show you worked on was based on my books. Starting with the first book, You're a Bad Man, Mr. Gum. That's the one that pays my mortgage. Yeah.
Okay. And wow. Okay. So really, you're a British author. This is like a circumstance where I am embarrassing myself by not having done the research. Do you know Chris Smith? He's done a children's book.
Oh, sure. Chris Smith. I put a drink near him once, I believe.
Oh my God. Chris Smith was a BBC radio news presenter who went on to write a kid's book with, I believe, Greg James, who is a BBC Radio 1 non-news presenter. And I follow them on Twitter, and so I know that they have a children's book, and so that's, isn't that fun? I don't actually have too much relation. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know their books, actually. I tend at this point in my career, Spencer, not to go anywhere near bookshops because I don't want to see, how I've fallen from my perch and see that other people Yeah, exactly. Who's getting ahead? Oh, she's doing well. Good for her.
So
that's a feeling I definitely get.
A bookstore for you is like when I read Deadline Hollywood. About who just sold a pilot and that kind
it's the exact same thing, but with smaller numbers. Yeah.
So I used to work at a bookstore, and boy, did it make me hate books. Especially after I worked at the regular bookstore, I worked at a used bookstore, which bought large bulk sales of books and then would list them online and sometimes literally shovel them with shovels. And it really reduces the majesty. When you talk to people who like books about books, they're like, oh, the smell and the feel and the spine, like it's this magical artifact. And it's like, no, I've shoveled books. Like I've spent hours ripping covers off of books as part of my job because books are an item of commerce to me, and it's like, it's weird to just like, to see something just completely so perverted by your strange relationship to it, and it's like, man, who would have expected that I don't go near bookstores anymore because it makes me sad.
You're not inspiring me to make more literature.
No, I don't do that.
For some
I'm very
reason.
Negative. Yeah, it's not.
It does seem that way, if you don't mind my saying, Spencer. No, it doesn't seem at all healthy. So, as I say, well met,
Yeah. So, okay. So, I think we got a very basic underline or baseline. But, so you guys have met at some point. I was thinking maybe we can go to start at where you met and then work backwards, and then after that work forwards, like backwards in each of your lives, just to kind of trade. I don't know.
Yeah.
So how'd you guys meet? What happened?
Well, first I had to be born. If you want to, let's go. Let's
no,
do
that's
it.
going forwards. No.
No. We got to start at the meeting point, go back to both of our births, and then forward again.
And then jump forward.
I think is Spencer's idea for some reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Before I worked at Community, I got a call from a friend of mine who was an executive, like a sort of a guardian angel of mine, because that's how my career has always worked. There's always been someone who kind of like plucked me out of where I was and gave me a good opportunity. And I apologize to anyone for whom that has not happened, because I'm just blessed. I don't know why, it just happens.
Yeah, that's my whole life is like that. And it's weird. You just like, it's like, yeah, I know that opportunity is finite, and but you can't pass it on to you can't be like, no, so it's like, it's so weird though. It's a weird sensation for sure. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So a woman named Tracy Katsky, who was an early champion of my writing, I met her through the proper channels. I had an agent who showed her a script of mine. She was an executive at Fox, and she helped me get this job at Malcolm in the Middle, which was my first TV writing job. And then later, she went on to become an executive at Nickelodeon and called me and said, we have optioned these books that are really funny, and they're very popular children's books in the UK.
You remember the name of any of the titles, maybe?
I can't remember any of them. They had something to do with
it's like Mr. Gum First Blood or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
I said,
Mr. Gum and the Shovels.
Mr. Gum and the Shovels. I said, look, Trace, I got no fucking, I have no opinion on these fucking books. I just want money. All right, I'll do it.
That's honest.
She sent me You're a Bad Man, Mr. Gum.
You're a Bad Man, Mr. Gum. Well done.
Which was a very quick read, and it hit me like a lightning bolt. The sensibility of it is very Python. We just had this discussion, Andy. Americans read anything with a British accent and go, "Oh, that's Python-esque," but maybe it's not. Yeah. But it just was that great combination of silly and smart, but mostly silly, and then sillier.
Smilly.
So I associate a British humor with very kind of tossed off and fast, but I'm wondering, does that translate well into kind of a book form? Is that an interesting kind of challenge to kind of, because in a book, like in your narrator's voice, it's maybe hard to seem kind of tossed off. I don't know.
No, the opposite. That is my narrative voice. Actually, it's very crafted, but it looks tossed off. By the way, tossed off means something different over here than it does in America, I believe.
Oh, no, it means that's what I mean. I've been tossing off all morning.
Okay, it means both things over here. I'm glad to know it means both things over there as well. Well, I tossed off, I can't say I tossed off a children's book. That's wrong.
Yeah, sorry. No, that's bad. But I do mean, like, to me, that's like people, I don't know, people say like what Andy said is like really smart and silly. But to me, it's also just so fast. It's like, oh, an elephant just drove by, and then we're already two sentences past that sentence, and it's like, wait, what? And that's just a really kind of, and that's obviously a horrible example, but that's kind of like the feel it invokes.
No, that's pretty much the first chapter of my book. It's an elephant. He drives by. People say, "Oh, there's an elephant in a car. How British!" It's. I think you'd like my book very much, Spencer. I think it's about as magpie-y and sort of hummingbird brain as I think you might have. But like the hard thing is putting it down. The hard thing is one can toss off in life as much as one likes, but to actually sort of go back and craft that into a narrative and do both things at once, that's the hard bit. But I did manage it once or twice, so it looks very fast. It's a very fast book, yeah, but it's
so
some
comedy
logic underneath it.
Like comedy it's all the same stuff that you have to do in not comedy, and then you have to do comedy on top of it.
That's exactly it. You've got to do the emotional stakes, you've got to do the characters, and then you've got to play another string on top. That's exactly right. That's what I tell people all the time, whether they want to know or not.
You tell strangers that on the...
I walk down the street just proselytizing about how to write comedy, and some people like it and some people don't.
Yeah. And so what were you doing before you were writing kids' books? Were you writing other stuff, or, were you...
No, I was actually very frustrated because I have a lot of ideas in my head and I wasn't doing anything with them. And I got so tired of not doing that I sat down. Okay, this is going to answer your question. I actually sat down. Andy's heard this story a million times. Sorry, Andy. I sat down one Christmas Eve just to see if I could write something from start to finish to make my little cousins laugh on Christmas Day. Like Victorian times. I shall read your story that I have written the prior evening, and like it was just. So I actually did write that first book essentially in one night, but at the same time, it was years and years of frustration of never really backing myself or seeing what would happen if I just kept going rather than, you get 5 lines in and you just go, this is worthless, So I actually stuck with something for once in my life and it just all fell right. No other book has been as easy or as difficult to write as that one. But
go ahead, sorry.
But, to stop this being so much about me and my problems, cut to
going.
A few years later. No. I mean, this is that was the genesis of the book, but it turned into a series. And a few years later, I got picked up by Nickelodeon, and then they gave me a few showrunners to choose from. And of course, This was all happening with me on the phone in London in a really grotty little flat. And I felt, and I was sort of being given the chance to be my own Matt Groening on a show. I was like, what's going on? And they asked me to interview some showrunners over the phone. And the third of the 3 was Andy Bobrow. And that's where Andy steps in. And
you left out the part. Wait,
right.
Andy, you left out my favorite part of your origin story, which is that you read your cousins that book that you wrote on Christmas, and they couldn't be arsed to listen to it. And then you put it, and then it just sat in a drawer for 2 years until you rediscovered it, right? I like that part.
because I live my life as if I'm going to live for 1,000 years. I'm so, I can just, there's my career. I'll just put it in a drawer for 2 years. I rediscovered it 2 years later. I sent it off to some publishers, but
I think there's really, I want to say, it's worth noting, I don't know, at least to me, that this is a thing that happens where you get this little idea and you fucking spin it out and you're like, oh my God, I'm the fucking king of the world. And you want to show it to someone and either someone doesn't like it or no one wants to pay attention. And like, that can destroy you. And if you're a weird, megalomaniacal, crazy sociopath, you could be all like, no, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. I'm talented. I'm the most talented human on the planet. And continue moving on as if it doesn't like affect you. And then that can like, get, it's like, but it's like it took you, you had to pull it back out before anything happened, but you didn't put it back in. You were the person that pulled it out in the first place. Other people kind of, obviously it was your emotions and stuff, but it was like, it was that interaction that put it back in. And it's just so, it's like such this weird, tragic thing that happens to create it. I don't know. I don't know. For me,
no, you're right. I mean,
sensitive. Go ahead. So
I think you're right. I tossed it off and I pulled it back out and I pulled it back in and I pulled it back out and I did that. And eventually, it came to be.
It came out.
That's the story. It came out. It came out. It came out all over the place, if I'm honest with you.
Right. It was everywhere.
And then it wouldn't stop coming out once it
and you
started.
could have put it back in. Yeah.
I could have put it back in, but I didn't. I just continued to leave it out and for the world to see, actually.
Yeah. And then
it was just hanging out.
It's just hanging out.
So Okay, so let's just go back for a little bit farther back, just because I just kind of wanted to biographize you a bit earlier. What were you doing earlier in your life, Bobrow? Before any of that, like high school, college, personal, like where'd you grow up and stuff?
Oh,
just basics.
All right.
But I don't know.
I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit. I used to just say I'm from Detroit, and then I came to understand that there's a real the suburbs of Detroit are different from like when you run into someone, you go, I'm from Detroit, and they go, I'm from Detroit, and then you name what city you're from, and it could be two vastly different places.
Yeah.
So anyway, I grew up.
It's hard to understand that as a kid, certainly, is like what actually makes the difference between like in a community in a different community or an area in a different area.
Yeah. And I had two basic skills coming out of high school. One was that I could write kind of funny, and I was good at reading and comprehend, to English lit and creative writing. And then the other was I played the tuba. And
how's that working out for you?
I went to college at Michigan State University, and I majored in music for a year and a half, thinking that that was going to do it, that I was going to be, I wasn't quite sure what, I just knew I was good at it.
Sure.
And it was fun. And I got there, and a couple things happened. One was that they make you learn piano. Like if you're majoring in, I decided music, like composition and music theory was going to be my thing, because I didn't want to teach. I didn't want to be a band director. Mm-hmm. And they make you learn piano, and I couldn't get it. I was just really bad at piano. And then the other thing was
like the tuba only has two notes, right?
That's really what it comes down to. I mean, my brain wasn't even advanced enough to do like a trumpet or something with more melody. Like I could only do bass. But that's the thing. I was really.
Here comes Andy Bobrow. He's playing his big brass band. Excuse me.
Yes. Yeah.
He's trumping out the back end.
I guess the comeuppance I got was, being good at tuba is, and I don't mean to shit on it. It's a hard instrument to play. It's very physical.
I'm so sorry. Every time you mention it, I just look at boom, 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 boom. Here comes Andy.
But yeah, I could not expand my. I couldn't get past I couldn't get out of the bass. I couldn't get out of the bass line.
Say tuba again.
Tuba.
Boom, 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 boom. Here comes Andy.
And I got to tell you, I was good at it. Okay, I was really good. I was the best tuba player. Also, not that hard to be. And at the end of my freshman year, the music department called me and they said, "Well, you barely passed piano, and we strongly recommend that you retake your first level piano class." And that's when I said, you know what? I think it's probably not my calling. I got this other thing I'm going to try, which was I got a degree in English. So I tried the one thing I was good at. I had two things I thought I was good at. I tried the first, crapped out, and then did the second. And then I had a lot of fun doing that. But then, of course, there's no jobs for either tuba players or English lit majors.
For sure.
And yet, you fashioned some sort of a career out of the tuba, out of the writing.
I did. But the first stop before TV was advertising, because in the Midwest, that is kind of like what Hollywood is. Like if you're creative, you can go make ads, and it feels kind of cool.
How would you advertise a tuba? How would you sell the sizzle of the tuba?
The tuba, it's sexy again.
It's sexy again. Yeah.
Again, it was sexy before.
Right.
Tuba, it's really large. If you haven't got a partner, you can hold it close to you in bed.
Yeah, it vibrates in your lap. Need I say more? Yeah, or just, are you a bottom?
Blow your own lungs out.
Blow your own lungs out. Yeah. Tuba. If you make it your identity, no one will fuck with you.
Show them you're from Detroit with a tuba,
and swirl yourself in brass with a nice tuba.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Oh, I guess that's a sousaphone, huh?
Oh right, I played tuba.
How embarrassing!
I played sousaphone in the marching band.
Oh right,
I got one.
What?
Tuba. It's something to do between now and dying.
Yeah.
That should be a much more popular marketing slogan, I think, especially in these days. It's like that's all anyone's doing anyway. It's like, hey, what about this?
Yeah.
You're dying.
Oh, I always want to put strap lines on that. I always would at one point there was talk of a Mr. Gunn movie, and in my head I just write the strap line, and it was like fill 88 minutes of your existence by watching the Mr. Gunn movie. You know. I really like making kids happy with funny stories, but I also like to remind them that life is existential and bleak.
Well, it's important. I talked about this, I don't know who to, but there's this thing where we intentionally teach this lying version of the world to children so that, and I don't know that it's like we do this on purpose, but we do that. And then when the kids realize it's all a lie, they're like, oh, I hate everything. I'm not going to be civically engaged in any way. I'm not going to vote. And then it's like, whoa. It's like, why don't we just tell people the truth and then be all like, but the reason it's gone so bad is because people aren't, doing more. I don't know.
I like to put just a few hints of the grayness in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make the gray the dominant shade of my rainbow. But
but you got to acknowledge it.
I don't want to pretend the shadow isn't there, Spencer.
Yeah,
I won't do it. These 6-year-olds need to learn early.
Well, come on, Shel Silverstein. There's a lot of there's a lot of darkness in kids' content. It's not like, but I feel
absolutely.
There's just this rose tint that we think that nothing could have ever been bad in the past or whatever, But it's like audiences are smart. I don't know, even kids are smart. But what about you, Andy?
Really smart.
Yeah, what about you? Do you have any interesting biographical details you want to share? I don't want to force you to if you're not into it, but I don't know. I want to at least give you a platform to kind of go off like Bobrow did. I thought that was cool.
I thought it was good as well. I mean, I don't have a tuba in my past, so I don't.
It's dirt simple.
I mean, it's an instant story. You'll get. It's always something. I'm like, what is my tuba? What would you like to know, Spencer? Give me an in.
Well, okay. So where did you live? Did you live in London your whole life?
Yeah.
Okay. So what was school like?
Yeah, I find it weird when people say, "How was your school?" Because I'm always like, "Well, I only tried one out. I don't know how to compare it to any other schools."
But was it
was it hard? Were you bullied? Were you popular?
No, I'll tell you what, man. I was like Bart Simpson at school before Bart Simpson existed because I grew up in the 80s, and then I always feel like I was like Bart Simpson at school. I was always just pushing the rules and fooling around and just goofing around and thinking of. Just trying to break every scenario with humor. And then when I'll tell you something, I went to university, I went to Oxford University, and then I did not know what had hit me. It was nothing like mucking around at school and being Bart Simpson and having a laugh. I didn't, by the way, carry a catapult in the back pocket of my shorts. I didn't even wear shorts, but that's how I see myself as a kid, When I went to university, suddenly it was all very unstructured and it was the big wide world. And I did not know what was happening to me there. And I went to the oldest college in Oxford, the first one. I think it's the oldest university in the world. It's Christ Church College. It was literally founded by Henry VIII's cardinal. Everybody should have a cardinal. Henry VIII certainly did. He had Cardinal Wolsey, and they founded fucking Oxford University. And I believe 13 prime ministers of Britain went not to Oxford, but actually to just that one college. So I was in the heart of the institution, and I did not know what I was doing there. And they didn't like me very much, and I didn't like them very much.
I was going to say, you didn't fit in, right? Yeah.
I had no idea what was happening, and I discovered, a little more fast living than I'd had at, what we call secondary school, high school, and, I discovered all the normal things that you discover at university, and I didn't know what was going on. They had no pastoral care. I got very depressed. And their attitude was like, emotions? What are these things called emotions? We were founded by Cardinal Wolsey in about 1450. You know, they weren't very progressive. They'd literally let women in 10 years before I was there, I think. They were still looking at them with a cocked eyebrow, I think.
Very Oregon of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure we should have let the skirts in, actually.
Oh, no.
So they didn't know what to do with me. Well, when there's someone that doesn't fit into an institution like that, they just boot you out. So I was studying English literature at Oxford. They kicked me out. I was very lost for a few years, and I always thought, well, I don't need to go back to college unless I really, really want to study and really know what I'm doing, because I'm going to have this creative life ahead of me. I was very vague about how that might happen. And eventually, it, as I said earlier, it happened by me actually just sitting down and going, I'm sick of not putting any of these thoughts into order. What would happen if I just let those thoughts run? And that's how I wrote that book. But yeah, I'm very proud of getting kicked out of Oxford. All the best people get kicked out of places like that. But at the time, it wasn't great. But, I put in my biography on my kids' books, he studied English literature at Oxford, but he was kicked out. And of course, kids often ask me why. And then I say, I killed a man, and it's really fun to say that. But then I tell them the real reason, which is just like I tell kids, literature is like a meadow, and there's all these great things to look at. There's a great big weeping willow tree and an oak tree, and there's all these sparrows. I don't know what I'm saying here. There's all these sparrows and larks, and there's a river and bulrushes, and you want to look at it all. But at Oxford, they just clapped the blinkers on me and just made me plow one furrow up and down. I want to look at that bit. No, plow, one furrow. And that's what it was like at Oxford for me. So this has been cathartic to tell the world.
No, it's cool. I mean, I like hearing about it, certainly. I hope it's not super uncomfortable. I hope it's kind of uncomfortable.
Nah, I wouldn't.
Okay.
It's kind of, that's why I like it, because it's kind of uncomfortable. This stuff isn't a secret, and it's something that happened to me and formed my character,
Yeah, for sure.
Perfectly that's fine now.
And it's how you got, here on this podcast, the pinnacle of your career.
Yeah.
Well, it's I mean, what's it called? It's called That Happened, and it's happening right now. So I can't be anywhere else, right?
I mean, that's what people say. I've been convinced that I don't think it actually is happening. I think that didn't happen, and that's one of those cases where it's like the ironic title, and you didn't realize the irony when you were titling it, But
so you're not sure that things are happening. Have you tried pulling it out and putting it back and putting it out and just letting it hang out?
That's one of the only few things I've tried. I've tried that. I've tried tossing it off. There's not too many options.
No, there's not. Between that, it's tossing it off, letting it hang out, and basically shoveling books. That's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah. But I think the thing is, our audience, they really love Kevin, and Kevin hasn't had very much to say. And now it's time to just demand Kevin instantly on cue without any prep time or anything. Just come out with an incredible thing to say that'll be worth this buildup.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I was actually just looking for this, but I guess they deleted it. Some guy on Reddit did a dice drinking game for this podcast. You roll a D20, and then we with suggestions of what we were supposed to do. We try a snack, or we play D&D or whatever. But number 19 out of nowhere is Kevin kills everybody else in the show and takes over the show himself.
Oh,
okay.
So I'm kind of wondering how you feel if we try that.
That would be good content.
How would you feel if we try Kevin killing everybody on the show and taking over the show? That's the question being asked?
Yes.
How would I feel about that? I guess I wouldn't love it. I wouldn't mind being killed, but I don't want to involve anyone else in my weird fucking fetishes, so...
I'm almost exactly the opposite. The only bit I object to about that is being killed.
That actually, so your perspective makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you actually, take over the show, sure.
We're just different people, I think, you and I, Spencer.
So, okay. Oh, so you guys, we've learned very little about Kevin, but just very quickly, we do a segment on the show sometimes called Guess Kevin's Deal. And we could just do a quick lightning round of that. Do you want to guess Kevin's deal based on what you know about him, which is very little? I'll guess first just to kind of give you an example based on what we've learned about Kevin so far. Kevin, are you a weird psychosexual serial killer?
No.
Okay. I'm not convinced, but, we'll take it at face value for now.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I think I've got a handle on Kevin from what I've seen.
Yeah, if you have a guess.
Did your grandfather invent Play-Doh?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. All right.
That was a good one, though. That was good.
It's just the vibe I got off the guy.
Kevin.
Plato's the Cave. Sorry.
Did you once briefly consider getting into rock climbing and then not?
No, I'm so out of shape, and I've been out of shape my entire life. No.
Okay, hang on. I've got a real one. Kevin, are you an artist of some description?
Absolutely not. No. I am the opposite of whatever an artist is.
So that makes me go, okay, so this might actually be closer. This might be too close, and Kevin might be lying. But Kevin, are you someone who wanted to, you kind of wish you were like an artist?
Yes, definitely. I have.
I think this is the first time I've ever won. Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Yeah. That makes so much sense. I don't mean that in an insulting way, but yeah. I mean, Kevin's such a great guy. He likes enabling people like us, despite us doing nothing good for him, other than kind of enabling this kind of desire. Yeah, okay, this is great. I don't know. This almost feels reductive. I feel like me being so excited about it is weird, but I've never won this game before.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, I got goosebumps.
Speaking of goosebumps, we got to take a quick commercial break. We would be nothing without our sponsors. We'll be right back. Hey folks, my name is Tyler, and I'm here from Tyler's Tubas. Oh yeah, just talking to you about tubas. Tubas, get them in your life. Do you need a 40-pound piece of metal that you don't know how to lift, let alone move around your mouth? Do you love just the feeling of your cheeks pushed to the edge of their absolute tensile pressure, fit to burst for your every breath into this mechanical wonder machine of spit and fungus? Get yourself a tuba today. Use the promo code GoblinFlakes for 50% off your tuba's grease. And we're back. Thanks for coming back to the show. As always, our sponsors are what makes us keep going, and Tyler's Tubas. Tyler has been Kevin's uncle for the past 15 years after a strange legal battle. So, fun fact there. It's a relationship that we've had. But yeah, back to the show. So we actually brought you on to talk about something that you were interested in, like we have enthusiasts on the show. I don't know. It's you guys watching anything? You guys listening to anything lately?
Excellent segue.
I think you know the answer to that, don't you, Spencer?
We have been a pre-interview.
We have been watching something indeed, and it turns out we've both been watching it for a very long time. We're both extraordinarily huge fans of the British show Tumbler's Willy.
Tumbler's Willy?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I've never heard of this. Have you heard of this, Kevin?
No, I have not.
I've heard. Yeah, I don't. Is it old?
It's very old. It's been running. It's not recent. It's been running 120 years, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But no,
120
listen,
years.
Everyone in the UK knows this show. It's an institution in the UK. But it's surprisingly very few Americans, almost less than zero Americans have actually heard of it.
Less than zero. That's hard to believe.
Yeah, it is hard to believe.
Well, sorry, with a margin of error of one either way because Andy's heard of it.
Well, I have heard
that
of it.
So that makes a lot more sense. So I feel like I'm not super plugged into the British scene, but I used to listen to a lot of BBC Radio 1. I would listen to big songs before they would break in America, and they would, people would be like, "Oh, yeah, you don't know about Toddler T or whatever." I don't know, and he's
a Toddler T. Yeah.
But he's not like an artist. But I guess whatever. Anyway, whatever. But I've never heard of this. Like, I feel like I would, it's like, it's not Doctor Who, but it sounds like it is like Doctor Who, right? How have I not heard of it?
Yeah, that's right. It's nothing like Doctor Who, so almost exactly the same. And I think that's why we've really started this podcast, to tell people about Tumblers, Willy. And we started a podcast called the Tumblers Willy podcast, so you know what you're getting right off the bat. Okay. And we just want to educate. Well, for the folks over here, it's as Andy says, it's an institution. It's a cultural behemoth.
Oh yeah,
behemoth, as we'd say in America.
But what percentage of
behemoth?
I right, yeah. Well, I don't think I've ever actually said it out loud, so who knows how I say it.
No, that's right. No, you said it right. You're just British. That's the only thing.
Behemoth.
Oh.
It's a cultural behemoth
with some gin.
Yes. But kids were, really. Possibly, what would you say? What percentage of Brits know of this show? 70, 80%?
Oh God, double that probably.
Double that, probably like 160% or so.
That's another margin of one error. Right?
With the margin of one, the standard margin of one.
Right. It won't be lower than like 140. 140%. It just won't be. Like, we're weaned on it here. It's almost de rigueur, It's
well, is it for kids, or is it a crossover hit, or what?
It's just for people, Spencer. If that answers your question, it's just for people.
Well, that's what I am.
But that's why we want to tell people about the show.
Right.
That's why we want to discuss, and it's so rich. It's got such a rich history. So it actually started out, talking of radio, started out as a radio show in 1902, 20 years before radio began. So it was ahead of the curve from the day, from the get-go.
Yeah.
Right. So that was back then. You would just talk, right, and then hopefully someone might listen.
Yeah, it's nothing like today.
It was nothing like today.
When people just talk and hope someone would listen. Nothing like it's nothing. We don't have any industries that are even close to that anymore.
No, it's a lost art, really. Honestly, talking and listening.
I've certainly lost it.
Yeah. But that first episode in 1902, and there was tremendous hype leading up to this. They had run this ad campaign promoting Tumblr's Willy, this brand new radio show. People hadn't. Radio wasn't even the word that they were using, right, Andy?
Yeah, well, no, it's difficult to explain, actually. I mean,
it's very difficult.
It was radio, but they didn't have the word yet. That's right. They wouldn't have the word for another 20 years, but it was the same technology. So for the sake of keeping things simple, for the case of keeping things simple, for the sake of keeping things simple, we refer to it as radio, but but they didn't have. They had what the BBC in those days would call mystery boxes, and people didn't really know what to do with them. They'd never made any sound, and then suddenly Tumblers comes along and just breaks every record. For a show by being a show.
So there had been the previous record was
simply by existing.
That's
right.
Yeah.
So it was massively. It was number one, in a field of zero.
Was it on BBC back then? Was BBC around back then?
Yeah, it was on. Yeah, well, it wouldn't be around for another 20 years officially, but yes, it was on the BBC, and then it eventually jumped to the televisual medium, also on the BBC in the 1950s. That's when Tumblers really
came into its own. Yeah,
I would say so, and became a visual phenomenon as well as a audio phenomenon. In the intervening 50 years, this is interesting, we talk about this in the third episode, in the 50 years between being on radio and being on television, it was actually, and this is quite hard to get a grip on, but it was actually not on any conventional medium at all. It was just everything that happened in the world for the first half century of the 20th century was the show. Yeah, it was very experimental, incredibly experimental. Yeah. You talk about that was a period. That's a period that's known as the 50-year everything.
Yeah. and a lot of people didn't understand what was happening, but some were really clued into this. You know, this what we think is living our lives. This is actually Tumbler's Willy.
This is sort of the show. So
yeah,
but this was 70 years before it was around, and it was kicking for 70 years, and then the 50 year everything started.
No. It's okay. So they started in 1902 on the radio, although it wasn't called a radio, and they first went out in April 1902. Right. Except it was a slightly different April because they had a different calendar back then. So it's what you would call how would you call it, Andy?
Well, it's known as a slightly shifted April.
Okay,
a slightly shifted April.
Yeah, I don't understand Britain, but this all tracks. I suppose.
No one does. No one does.
Right. I mean, I don't understand daylight savings time.
Wow.
Yeah. But what was it like? Action? I mean, you said it's everything, so it's like slice of life. Is it documentary?
Okay. No. This is the concept. They put 10 episodes out on radio. The first 2 were completely silent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
we should mention England went crazy for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge hit. They couldn't get enough.
Huge hit. They couldn't. They lapped it up, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely ravenous.
Okay.
For it.
And then at the end of the 10th episode, Andy.
Go
ahead.
Well, I think they felt like they'd gone as far as they could, and they'd exhausted the possibilities of that medium. And I think it just amused them to become gods.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And announce. Well, they didn't announce it. They just did it. They just decided that conceptually everything that would happen for the next 50 years in all of human existence at a macroscopic and a microscopic level would be the show, and that's what you had to understand. And if you weren't aware of that, okay, no skin off your nose. But if you realized that was actually, that was a hell of an episode.
It was.
I mean, that sounds psychedelic and kind of like next level and stuff. I don't know the timing. I don't know history or anything, but that sounds like if it was in the air, that must have influenced the Beatles or something. Again, I don't know how timelines work or whatever.
Well, that's a very good story. Yeah.
You mentioned that.
Yeah, we can go into it a little bit. I don't want to give away the whole episode, but
right, because you're here to plug your podcast. I'm just trying to ask about the show, but I don't want to step on your content.
It's a really good segue, though.
I'm sorry, I find that plug our podcast that rather cheapens the experience.
That's true. I was very happy to have someone who wanted to be on the show that I could talk to, because the podcast is one of my only ways of feeling like a human, because I don't feel like a human in my apartment, and I leave the house and I feel like I'm the only human on the planet. So it's very normal to be doing stuff like this. And so I appreciate you guys being here for sure. Just to be super clear.
We're here to tell you about something we love.
Yeah. So let's flash forward to the late 50s, and Tumbler's this huge hit. Tumbler's is a huge hit in England at this point.
Sure.
And as you might expect, it had started to grow a little stale, to be honest. By the late 50s, people knew what to expect. Tumbler himself had made an appearance. That's another thing we cover in our podcast. The star of the show, Tumbler, didn't even appear in the show until the late
mid-1950s.
Mid-1950s. And when he appeared,
there was only one Tumbler?
Yeah.
Well, at that point, later there were two.
Yeah. But and similar to Doctor Who, I mean, so many people have played this role over the years. I mean, it really does keep reinventing itself. But by the late 50s, the BBC had decided that it had grown stale and that they weren't reaching the youth. They weren't reaching the youth market.
Well, it was actually, I mean, it just got worse during the 60s as well, when the youth market exploded. Yeah. I mean, it was already starting to lose traction by the late 50s. And then I think the 60s just really, it had started to become your dad's show by the time, teenagers started sprouting up.
Right.
Like,
teenagers were a brand new thing. Teenagers were a brand new phenomenon. They hadn't really existed prior to mid 60s or so.
They did it. They weren't interested in tumblers by the 60s. No. They just weren't. So the BBC got very worried.
Yeah. This is a lot of what we do on the podcast is we go into the backstage, because this is what Tumbleheads really want to know. Tumbleheads, right. You will become pretty soon, I'm sure.
Sure.
Really want to know the backstage drama. And so this is the story. These are the stories that we're uncovering, is that the people at the BBC decided we need to freshen it up. We need a new director, and he needs to be hip. He needs to be now. He needs to be youthful. And they took out an ad.
They brought this guy, Nate Turpington, in.
Yeah, Nate Turpington.
And he was kind of the injection of fresh blood they needed. And
what a character.
What a character. I mean, the show at that point, Spencer, I don't know how things work in the States, but by that point in the mid-1960s, the show had expanded. So there was a cast of, I think, 9,000 characters.
Yeah. The cast
and it had become a little bloated.
It had gotten a little bit bloated.
Yeah, it's weird. You'd think more of these people would have kind of crossed over. I mean, we all know about Greg Turpington, the most dangerous man. Nate
Turpington. Sorry,
Nate Turpington, the most dangerous man in the tri-state area. The UK has a tri-state area, right?
Oh, sorry. Oh, is there a real Greg Turpington?
There's a Greg Turkington. I think that's what I was doing.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh no, well, Turpington or not? Maybe
I don't know if he was, but I mean, our Turpington, Nate Turpington, was, he was all about revolution and a counterculture.
Yeah, exactly.
Just throwing things open. But
go ahead, Andy. Sorry.
Well, I would say that what he possibly did share with your Greg Turkington is that he was responsible for a large number of deaths.
He did. I think I was talking about your Nate Turpington. Like, I don't want to. As far as I know, Greg Turkington has not killed anybody.
Apologies to the whole Turkington family.
At this point, and
all of his descendants. We did not mean to impugn your great family name, Turkington.
I also. I should say I don't want to be liable for anything that's said. This is not my show. I'm not legally responsible.
No, we are, and that's fine. No, and we will take the legal responsibility for everything. I'll take that. But I was just, I was just saying that it's funny who makes it over the pond and who doesn't. I haven't heard anything about even Tumbler, who's the star, but we know about Nate Turpington.
Yeah. Oh, that is weird. So many Americans do know Nate Turpington. It's strange.
Well, I do. I'm more tuned in than most people.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what do you know Turpington from? Some of his later work, I suppose?
Well, if you could call it work, I would call them atrocities, crimes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
that's one way of looking at it, yeah.
Right, yeah, no, no judgment, but I can be negative. You guys know this
quite a lot.
I can be very negative. I can be judgmental.
But actually, it's not judgmental.
No judgment. The facts.
If he did commit atrocities later on, then he committed atrocities. That's not judgment. That's just fact. That's just fact checking.
We certainly know that he had the capacity because when he took over the reins at Tumblers, he said we've got to reduce the size of this cast, and he did it by blowing them up. Quite frankly,
he just blew them up.
He blew them up.
See, now I didn't hear about this one. This is no. I heard about his later work, like I was saying.
He was perfectly within his rights.
You could do
at that time.
It was common law. It was also in the BBC's original charter that you could do. But you could blow up a cast.
Talk about enfant terrible, because that was his first morning, and he just took that executive decision. He did not alert anybody. He just blew up 9,000 people, and that's one way of culling a bloated cast, and I guess it worked for Turpington.
It worked for Turpington, except that then the signals got crossed, and then they went and hired another 9,000 cast members.
They hired another 9,000 people, so they were back to square one.
They were back to square one with it. So he had to reduce the numbers somehow, because it was just a confusing show at that point.
So he trampled them.
He had them trampled
with horses. So
yeah.
But I didn't know that was the context, but I had heard about this one. But this is the thing. Yeah. When you hire a director, you want someone, who can be decisive.
That's
and then you spend all your time second guessing and undoing that person's decisions. It's only going to lead for another 9,000 people's deaths.
Right. Exactly. Right. And then, well, we won't tell you about the third batch of 9,000.
Oh my God.
Horrifying. I know. horrifying.
But I think Spencer's really onto something. You can sure, in hindsight, you can go, oh, maybe maybe it was a little violent. But the thing is, the guy knew how to make a decision, and that is what the show needed. At some point in the creative process, you can think you've got to start putting stuff on paper, and that's what Turpington's genius.
Even if it's blood,
he realized he couldn't just dismiss these people with no, compensation package or anything. They had families to support. They had mouths to feed. So he realized that the kind of thing to do was to blow them up and have them trampled by horses. That's the kind of sort of cutting the Gordian knot attitude that separates a director from what I like to call a person who is not a director.
Yeah. And he was, God, should we talk about Should we go into a little bit more of it? It's such a fascinating story. You'll listen to.
Well, there's a lot of fascinating.
Oh, there are a lot of fascinating stories. But he did find himself at the center of 1960s London. He was in his 20s. He was at the heart of this explosion. He was hanging out with the Beatles. He was hanging out with, when Hendrix came to town.
Dalai Lama.
Hendrix. Turpington was there.
Harlem Globetrotters at one point, I believe.
Yeah.
Everyone. He was at the heart of all these massive explosions of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
He knew where to find those explosions.
He was an explosion-prone sort of a fellow, I would say.
He had his finger on the pulse, or indeed the trigger.
Yes,
he was an explosion-rich character.
So we've talked a lot about Tumbler. What about Willy? Is there Willy? Is that part of the show at all? Is this a secret?
Well, it's a part of the name of Tumbler's Willy, so it's a part of the name of the Tumbler's Willy podcast name as well, because the show's called Tumbler's Willy, so the podcast is called the Tumbler's Willy podcast. You see.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's named after the podcast. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I would say that is an integral part of it because it is a word that's in the title.
Yeah, and that it certainly is. And what a title.
It is. What a title.
Oh, there are other characters. The core cast by the 80s was pretty much set, or by the 90s it was. Of course, I'm blanking on all their names, but it was.
There's all sorts of people, really. I mean, one could mention
Lady Wylington.
Lady
Wylington.
Postmistress Millie.
The fan favorite.
There was a furious German publican.
Hoffman, the pub owner.
Hoffman, get out of my bar! Who has been drinking all the lager and not paying for the lager?
Yeah, always get. He was a good comic relief character.
Oh, yeah, no, it sounds like he must have had a spin-off at some point, I'd imagine, right?
They tried.
Character like
they
that.
Tried. Yeah.
That's always what happens, right? It's like, it doesn't
sometimes
work without
you can't take a minor character and put them in the spotlight. I mean, that's why
I think if you put that guy in my hands, I think I could ride this fucking crazy train to the moon.
Let me tell you, sir, if you tried to put Hoffman in your hands, you would probably end up without any hands. He was a fiery sort. Spencer. You don't want to grapple with Hoffman and tell Hoffman what to do.
No, but I think that's what I'm attracted to, as a creative.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on your head and handless body be it, Spencer.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to let Hoffman loose on my computer, on the keyboard.
But no, there was but it
he
really,
could mess
really,
up the draft.
It could be a little fruity.
Who else do we want to talk about, Andy?
All sorts of things. I mean, the show went through so many different incarnations. I mean,
we go decade by decade. Yeah, in our podcast, we cover more or less decade by decade. But yeah, I think what you're about to get into is the space era, right?
Yeah. Well, Spencer mentioned Doctor Who, and I said, well, it was nothing like Doctor Who, and yet. There were, in the 1970s, they did try and reinvent the show as a science fiction kind of franchise. They built a large spaceship out of some stuff they had lying around at Ealing Studios and some shiny things, and the show at that point was really set in a small English village.
It was set in a small English village. We knew all these characters. Postmistress Millie, Hoffman.
They thought we can massage that. We can send them into space. Let's just have the villagers say, "Oh, let's go into space." And they built the prop. But this is where at that point the director Dennis Neasley.
Yeah, Barnacle Dennis, they called him.
Barnacle Dennis.
Yeah, because he just wouldn't let go of things.
Oh, okay.
And also, his skin was very bad.
Oh.
It was mostly the skin, actually.
It was mostly the skin. Yeah, his ability to let go of things was sort of retcon.
I would say it was like 5% his tenacity, and 95% his horrible pustular face. Really, Barnacle Dennis,
his actual barnacles. Yeah,
it's like with Grumpy Cat when they were like, "Oh no, his name's Tartar Sauce." It was always Tartar Sauce.
Yeah.
Any grumpy fat cans in the audience?
They couldn't just change his name to Grumpy Cat. I mean, he wouldn't have cared.
No, I don't know. That was early. Oh, well, who knows? Anyway, but okay. So,
I met Tartar Sauce. I got a selfie with Tartar Sauce.
Oh yeah, she came. So she came to Community or whatever, right?
Yeah, him and his handlers came to were on the Paramount lot for some meeting, and they just were walking around, and they were huge celebrities. Like everyone wanted a picture with Grumpy Cat. We stuck him at the study room table and took a picture of him at Greendale.
Yeah,
it was lovely.
Man.
Oh, good times.
It's weird that there's famous pets that die, but you know. Were there any famous animals in the fucking Tumblr's Willy? Is this an animal show?
Good question. Largely not, but sometimes. Well, no, thank you. Actually,
well, there were the elephants. Oh, but they weren't on camera.
There was another famous director they hired in the 90s, a wunderkind, I think you'd have to say, an 8-year-old by the name of David Hunch. They hired to be the director.
David Hunch, one of the greatest directors, not just of Tumblers but of television. Really
just about anything, I think.
Yeah.
And so they hired him. Well, they actually hired him at random. I believe they stuck a pin into a map.
Yeah.
And then
they went to that location.
Story.
They stuck a pin in a map.
And then they blew up the map. They blew up the map and stuck a pin in that map. And they've stuck another pin. They kept blowing up the maps until eventually they were just literally working at 1-to-1 scale, and they just found the street that all the maps are pointed to and stuck a pin into someone's forehead and said, "You're the director." And that was David Hunch.
Wow.
Yeah. So this was an 8-year-old with big ideas, and just to answer to your question, Spencer, he almost immediately disassembled the show, took it off of TV again, turned it into a traveling religious roadshow, and demanded that he be given an elephant for his own personal usage that was larger than P.T. Barnum's famous Jumbo.
You know, when Community got canceled and everyone was saying 6 seasons in a movie, I heard they actually got that from Tumblr's Willy and the famous catchphrase from the audience that was "traveling show and an elephant."
Traveling show and an elephant.
It's a long walk, but I got there.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that Tumblr's probably has influence behind the scenes. It's hard to be, if you're a show that's basically all of reality for half a century, it's hard to have not had some sort of an influence on life, whether or not you've heard of the show. Actually, Spencer, I mean, it's interesting. Even you didn't think you were aware of Tumblr's, and yet you sort of know. Oh yeah, I kind of know Nate Turpington or Greg Turkington, or
I've been Googling.
You kind of know.
Yeah.
You know more than you think, I think, and a lot of fans of the show don't know they're fans actually, or they realize they're fans, but they don't know of what, or they don't know that they're fans, but of something, or a lot of people just enjoy it in dreams, and that's as far as it goes with them, I think.
Yeah. Now, does it cost money to get it through Dreams? Like, is that a subscription?
They've tried
for certain.
They figured out a way. They did a deal with Apple Pay, and so it does go right through. If your phone is on your nightstand, you're getting a charge.
Well, I bet they do it when I think they do it when they can enforce it. They send scientists round to people's houses, and they try and analyze whether they're dreaming of Tumblr's Willy by the REM. And then if they think, well, those REM
those waves match up,
if they match up with what episode they were showing that
It's
night,
a
then
huge
you'll
program.
you'll get charged.
Yeah, and it's very expensive technology. It really kind of has yet to pay for itself because they haven't found many subscribers that way. But they spent billions.
It's silly because there's a
dreams.
scientist that comes around like once every 3 or 4 nights to just sit by my bedside and watch.
Right.
And I don't dream of the show. I enjoy it. I keep telling him I'm one of Tumbler's biggest waking fans. I don't need to dream about the show. This is just costing the British government money at this point.
This is a government program gone wrong. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, I gotta say that this whole thing seems absurd. I mean, it honestly seems made up.
Well, what isn't made up?
Yeah. That's
Everything's
Right, I
made
guess
up.
television is made up. Yeah.
Right.
Is that
So
what you
What are you
mean?
saying exactly? Is that what you mean? You ask.
Well, I'm just
don't
saying.
ask me about what I mean by your question, mate.
Okay, so we know audiences are smart. We've been working in this industry for a lot of time, and I know my fans, are going to be thinking this show sounds astonishing, and it seems it beggars belief. Kevin's nodding. I truly don't even how do people, and what would you say to that? Like, this is unbelievable.
I would say, listen, I would say that life is unbelievable.
Yeah. I would say you're astonishing.
Sure. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
I would say
some parts of me.
I would literally say
not like that's not what I meant.
Great.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Andy. Continue. I'm sorry.
Sorry. No. Toss off your.
I was trying. I was not trying to toss off.
Really? I would. This is why. This is why we want to talk about the show. It's the greatest story never told, I think.
Right. And I mean, especially if you got that podcast title, that it's definitely that's clear, premium podcast title.
We were surprised it was available, to be honest.
Yeah,
it was
as popular as the show is.
Clearly,
and to be as hugely popular as the show is, it seems absurd to us that no one has done a podcast about it yet. So I guess we just lucked out, similar to my origin story with Tracy Katsky plucking me out of obscurity. I mean, we just happened to look up the Tumbler's Willy podcast and find that it was available. And so here we are.
Yeah. Because our first thought was to write an important book about it, but that seemed like a lot of work. So
that was going to be so much work. Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, Bobrow, Tracy Katsky, she's an immensely talented and powerful figure, but it sounds like it's impossible to even, she doesn't shine a candle to the monumental monolith that was Tumbler's Willy. That's now essentially done the same thing and is picking you up. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It is. It's still going, Spencer.
The way we're talking, it doesn't sound like it was still going. So it's like on a basic cable, or is it like it's dying a slow death, or?
No. No. You're making assumptions, sir.
So it's popular. It's still popular now.
It's still going.
Yeah,
still going. You can see it. 3 times a week.
Where do I watch this?
Well, if you're in Britain, you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
Okay. Harmon Quest is like that in America, but if you go into Britain, you just can't.
It's exactly like that. Yes. Yeah, that's a really good analogy because Harmon Quest is so enormous here. It's like everyone knows it.
Yeah.
And that's what Tumblr's in the UK.
Well, or to put it, again, imagine that there's a tree over here, right?
Sure.
And some people are looking at that tree.
I don't have to imagine it. I believe I'm sure that's happening.
Yeah, it might be. I just want you to bring it to the forefront of your mind.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I believe in my mind that is undeniably it's undeniable. It's happening.
Yeah, and just what a lovely image, I think, for everyone.
Is my
point.
I didn't know where you were going with it. I was going is he going to land this? And then you did. You brought it right.
Yeah,
you really.
I just thought it would be nice to think of the tree being watched there by people of all beliefs and backgrounds.
And so now I turn to look at the audience, and I'm like, "What kind of tree did you imagine?"
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
wow, great tree to imagine. It's
just nice, isn't it? And rustling. in the breeze.
All right. Well, I
I
think we're running out the clock. Do you guys have any last words before we kind of officially wrap up? I mean, what would Tumbler's Willy say if he was rudely being kind of?
Tumbler would say. I mean, everyone who knows the show would know. Tumbler would say, "That happens."
What?
He would.
Yeah.
But he likes to. But he'd put a spin on it. He'd say that doesn't not happen.
That does right. That doesn't not happen. If
I
this
knew I
show
would
were
like this guy.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, Spencer. I tell you.
All right. Well, cool. I mean, So I think we're gonna end it here. Do you want to? Thanks so much. What's coming up next, Kevin? Is there a new Schraub tonight or what?
No, actually, my lovely wife is taking over his slot tonight with a brand new show called Horror Madness. It's going to be premiering in just a little bit.
That's so cool. Okay, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be so cool. What about you guys? Do you have anything that you want to plug? Anything? Any final thoughts or cool? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I just really like the idea that and then the tree's not doing anything. And the people are just thinking to themselves, what a nice way to spend an afternoon.
Just
Andy's
looking
plugging the tree. Yeah, Andy's plugging the idea of looking at a tree.
That's fine, yeah. Well, I mean, if I was a highly successful author, I would probably plug that too,
It's really all I've got at this point.
Just that tree. What about you, Bobrow?
Yeah.
I don't have anything to plug. My life is really Tumbler's Willy at this point. So
right. So the Tumbler's Willy show. It's the
Tumbler's Willy podcast.
Podcast.
We launch. We have a little teaser episode that's up right now. You can find us at Starburns Audio.
Awesome.
Well, I think
or tumblerswilly.com. Which I just got our websites up, Andy.
Awesome.
Yay.
And our first full episode will go up on Tuesday.
Hooray for us.
Yeah.
And I think actually, if you don't mind my saying, hooray for everybody.
Or as Tumbler would say, not hooray for not everybody.
Yeah, he probably would actually.
He would have a little wink.
It's essentially the same thing, but it just makes you think just a little. It's nice.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. What do I got to plug?
Thank you for having it. Yeah. What do you got to plug? Kevin.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a Patreon. Well, Kevin just plugged. I'm not going to finish that sentence.
Okay. Spencer's Patreon.
I got a Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
I do D&D stuff. I've been doing this Big Dogs D&D on Tuesday nights on Twitch. So if you want to watch comedic D&D, go to Tuesday nights on Twitch, or go to Tuesday nights 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can check out twitch.tv/Frank Howley for some D&D. And I actually made a special presentation that will be happening at the beginning of the show. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, it's too late to listen to that. You missed it. So, but if you're watching this tonight live when this is playing, because it's playing live and we aren't recording this on Saturday morning ahead of the show, then whatever. I don't know how I started that sentence, so I don't know how to finish it. And that's the same way with podcasting. So as we always say, oh no, you know what? Let's actually close with a nice clip. We pulled a clip from Tumbler's Willy, and we'll close with that. Kevin, hit the play button.
Starburns Audio.